or last night, should I say, definitely sort of felt us with a little bit more confidence. I think we felt a little bit better about the team. I was very, very nervous going into this game. Because I just don't know how this Oxford United team is going to perform. Sometimes it can perform really well, and sometimes it can perform, really, really poorly. And Oxford United can produce. They can produce something unbelievable, like they did so many times last season. But they can also produce, showers of disappointment, as they have done this season. For the majority, I'd say that isn't being too harsh. I think the majority of this season hasn't been good enough. This is out, or this will probably be out like 7 or 8 o'clock on a Monday, and I understand it's like over 24 hours into the game, so people might have lost interest. I do apologise for that. I am sorry. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast. We're back. It's only been a few days, but we're back today in high spirits, high mood. It's a happy episode of the podcast, and it's not a happy episode of the podcast because it's a match preview. It's a happy episode of the podcast because it is 3 points for Oxford United in League One, not in the Cup. I mean, not that we've had any 3 points in the Cup. I mean, we did. We won in the Carabao Cup, but I'm talking about the league. The league has been a problem for Oxford United this season. I don't wish it was last season. Last season was successful, unlike last season, I should say. We're bottom of the league going into this game against Rochdale. We're 24th, rock bottom of the league table. We're now in 21st. We've moved up. Moved up those places. We're now sat on 9 points, 11 points off the playoffs. Which is ultimately where we want to be. Whether or not we will be this season, I don't know. We could be. We might be. I'm just not quite sure yet. Yesterday, or last night, should I say, definitely sort of felt us with a little bit more confidence. I think we felt a little bit better about the team. I was very, very nervous going into this game. Because I just don't know how this Oxford United team is going to perform. Sometimes it can perform really well, and sometimes it can perform, really, really poorly. And too many times this season, it's been the latter, and we have performed really, really badly. So this game really could have gone either way, and that's why I was a bit nervous going into it, because I know what Oxford United can produce. They can produce something unbelievable, like they did so many times last season, but they can also produce, showers of disappointment, as they have done this season. For the majority, I'd say that isn't being too harsh. I think the majority of this season hasn't been good enough. We've done enough match previews and match reactions where I've sat here and moaned about the performance, and I've given my thoughts on the performance, and it's been a negative one. But today I think there are positives. There are a lot of positives. We won the game 3-1. Now, I don't want this to be sort of a repeat of the MK Dons one, because I feel like every time we win now, it's, there's some positives. I'm actually going to talk about what I think this means for the rest of the season as well, because this does mean a lot for Oxford United going into what we've got to take from this result, and how we move it through, going through into the season. Now, it is a bit frustrating because we have now got an FA Cup game at the weekend, and then we've actually got the Papa John's Trophy, which is now what it's called. Interesting sponsorship. For the what it used to be the Leasing Cup, or the League Cup, or I don't know, it's not the League Cup, that's that Carabao now, isn't it? But I don't know what it's called, the old Football League Trophy, or whatever it is. It's now called the Papa John's Trophy anyway, and that's next Tuesday. So a bit frustrating that we've got to wait, 10 days, I think it is, 10 days until the next league game. But obviously, what can you do? It is frustrating. We've had a lot of times this season so far where we've got a result and then we've had a game postponed, so we can't really build on it, which is sort of like this really, because at least we've got a game, but against MK Dons, obviously we got that result, and then we needed to build on that against Swindon, I think it was, wasn't it? And then Swindon's game obviously got postponed. So that's the frustration we've got. That's the sort of frustration inside of us as fans. We can't bounce off and build on performances week by week and gain momentum, because we keep having games either called off, or it has been Rochdale United called off, twice this season, 3 times in total if you count the rearranged game as well, which is really, really frustrating, and something we can't do anything about, and I guess nor can anyone really. But it is frustrating, and now obviously we've got the FA Cup the weekend, so we can't really bounce off into the next game in terms of the season. We can bounce off in performances, because Peterborough is going to be a huge test. We've already lost them 2-0 in the league this season, and it would be nice to have a cup run, but obviously we can't really bounce that off in terms of back-to-back 3 points, as it were, as it would be in the league, and we could be sat on 12 points and back in mid-table again, which is obviously where we want to be, and then pushing upwards as well. But In terms of the actual performance today, I was really, really impressed with it. I was actually quite impressed with Rochdale at times. I think defensively they were a little bit shaky, and this is going to turn into a Rochdale podcast. I'm sure you might have your own, but I think defensively you looked a little bit shaky at times. I think the first touch on your defenders was a little bit iffy at times, but I think going forward you were dangerous against Oxford United, and you definitely caused us problems. I don't know where you are in the table, which I should have known. You're 16th now. Obviously, you could have been. I don't know where you were before the game. I really should have known that research. But I mean, I'm guessing you're what 14th, 13th. I mean, above you. I mean, 12, 12, 12, 13, 13. So all the way up to 12th, there's only a point difference. So you literally could have been anywhere there. So you were mid-table, obviously. So you were mid-table. You'd had some decent results. You're actually unbeaten. You actually won one, drawn before you came into Oxford United. So they came into this with decent form, and I think we outplayed them at the majority of the game. I think the game was open at times. I think the game could have really gone either way. I mean, the big change in turning point, I say, for the game is obviously when they got the penalty, and then they could have gone on the other end, and scored in the second half from a shot parried out from Simon Eastwood. And I'm not quite sure how the Rochdale player missed it, but if that goes in, this game goes either way. You can say that we got 3 goals, we could have got 3-2, but football doesn't work like that. Football really does not work like that, because momentum and emotions and all that sort of thing would take the game either way. When you're losing the game, you've got a different emotion and drive inside of you than you would be if you were winning the game, for example, or if you were leading. So you've got to look at it in that sense. So if they scored that chance, it would have been 3-2. I mean, it might not have been. It might not have been because the substitutes might have been different from Carl Robinson, who I think got today spot on. I haven't really been too critical of Carl Robinson too much since the start of the season, but I think you could have been a little bit critical of Carl Robinson since the start of the season, because I think some of the decisions he's made this season have been a little bit questionable, but. Actually, which I think you get with any manager, but I think today he got it spot on. I think the starting lineup today, I think was a good one, and I think then what he did when he changed the game with the substitutes was actually really, really quality as well. I mean, bringing on Shadipo obviously changed the game down that left hand side. Bringing he was forced to bring off somebody, I think it was. I mean, I literally can't remember who the substitute was now. Shadipo, of course, was the main one that did change the game. And then obviously in midfield, I feel like he brought somebody off. This is really embarrassing. Jack, you're meant to be doing a match reaction of the game and you can't remember the other substitutes. Shadipo was a good one. Shadipo was a fantastic. Oh yeah, Sykes, of course. He didn't really change the game too much, but I think Sykes did really well. I think he was really, really good in it. Really, really good in terms of in tight space. I thought he was really, really good as well, which I think you do get with Mark Sykes quite a lot. Is obviously keeping the ball close to his feet and things like that. I think it was really, really good, and it definitely showed against Rochdale yesterday how good Mark Sykes is at that. So yeah, I was really, really impressed with Mark Sykes yesterday, even though obviously we have been a little bit critical of Mark Sykes and how he hasn't really changed games as much as we think he can, and I think he will as the season progresses, because Mark Sykes, a lot like a lot of players and most players, they do sort of come off and build off confidence when they get that first chance. And he could have scored today, obviously yesterday, so I keep saying today like it's a Saturday game. He could have scored yesterday with that chance. I think he took an extra touch forward. There was a chance where it sort of got played into him. He took an extra touch when he maybe could have had it first time. So yeah, if that goes in, that could be a different season for Mark Sykes, because he does come a lot of confidence. But no, I think he took Adji off as well, and McGuane came off as well. I thought McGuane didn't have a great game. I think he was playing obviously on that left hand side. I don't think he had an unbelievable game, Marcus McGuane. But I think Adji did. I think Adji really did have a good game. I thought he was a really, really good player for Oxford United. He's powerful. I keep using that word, but he is. He was very, very powerful, very strong, and consistently burnt the right hand side. The left hand side, the left defence of Rochdale yesterday. So, really, really impressed with Dan Adji there as well. It's Goran's 50th appearance yesterday as well, and what a performance it was to go with it. I was going to say Moore did get man of the match. Is he my man of the match? Yes, he is. I think Moore was fantastic yesterday. I literally was speaking to people, and I've said it before, and I said it on the chart show. I literally said on the chart show how we need to get the height and the strength of Moore. How is he not scoring goals from headers? And when he goes and scores a goal with a header, if you haven't checked out the chart show, it hasn't done very well with views really. Well, I don't really care about that, because as long as you're enjoying it, the people that do watch it enjoy it. But if you do want to check that out, I basically am, ranking every week's, every team, every player's performance during the week. The second week of the ranking show is out yesterday. Thank you very much to everyone who has watched that, and hopefully, if you haven't watched that, you can go and check that out after this episode of the podcast as well. But I literally said in that episode, Moore doesn't use his head enough, I think, going forward, and he goes and scores a header, and obviously a goal when he turns, and he sort of, I don't know what it was, he sort of turned, and as it came round, he sort of got it in the back of the net, pretty strangely, but it goes in. Every goal's a goal, and that was obviously two big goals for Oxford United this season. So, and yesterday's game, of course. So Moore's man of the match. He's definitely my man of the match, and if you know the title, yes, a bit of a pun, a bit of banter on the old title. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to lie, that I didn't actually get that myself. I wish I had thought of that myself, but I didn't. I actually found it off somebody when I was going through on your social media. I was actually going through and I saw it. I was like, I'm definitely going to use that as the YouTube title for this of the podcast. I'm sorry if I have stolen it, but I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it was a really good one, so I had to use it. He's actually now joint top goal scorer, Elliot Moore, as well, which is pretty mental to have a centre back on joint top goal scorers when. In the last episode of the podcast, I was actually, saying how much we could get more of him going forward. He's now joint top goal scorer. Unbelievable. How football is strange. Carlton said he wants to cheer up fans during lockdown with results. I don't know why I really wrote that down. I do know why I wrote it down, because I think that's a really good thing for Carlton to say. I think, it is going to be a very difficult time for lots of people now. I think, we're going into a second lockdown here in the UK, and it's going to be interesting because obviously, thankfully, elite sports, including football and Oxford United, can continue, and I think that is a really, really good thing, because I don't know what we'd be doing if we couldn't have football continuing. I think a lot of people would have had very different, might have looked at it in a different way. Lockdown last time, the first UK lockdown, was extremely hard. Not just because it was the first ever lockdown we've ever done, but also because we didn't have any football. We were having to occupy ourselves. Thankfully, it was decent weather back then, so we could go out and play some football, not with anyone else, with ourselves or siblings if we had any, if you have any. But no, the weather was alright back then, but obviously now it's pretty rubbish. So, it's getting colder, it's getting darker earlier, and at the moment, schools are continuing to stay open. Schools, colleges, and all that thing is staying open. So, it's not exactly the same as last time, but I think, it will be interesting, and thankfully we have got football continuing this time during lockdown, because, it was a really, really difficult time for all of us. And everybody, I'd say, last time. So at least football continuing, and like Robinson said there, he wants to cheer the fans up during lockdown, because lockdown is quite a depressing, sad time. We can't go out and socialise. Christmas will not be the same this year. This sort of festive period that you get, and I love the festive period at Oxford United. I remember I've actually got the shirt behind you. I don't know if you can see the camera, but this was the shirt, a signed shirt, obviously, from Oxford United against Wigan when we lost. I think it was 7-0. 7-0 at home. We lost to Wigan. If you know, you know. I think Will Grigg scored about 8, and it was only 7. Will Grigg, I remember Will Grigg literally ripping our defence apart for Wigan. And that was actually, I think that was either Boxing Day or New Year's Eve, or during that sort of festive winter period. And those times are the best, man. Those times were unbelievable. I absolutely love the festive period, and the truth is, I know we're going off a different road, but it's a podcast, we can talk about that sort of thing. It was a very, very, it's going to be a very different time for us all, but thankfully football can continue, and even though there's not fans in the stadium, because, that is different. We did have a fan noise in the stadium yesterday against Rochdale. Keep forgetting the name. Rochdale. We had the crowd noise. Carl Robinson asked for the crowd noise to happen, and I think it probably did make an impact. I know it's small things, and I always sort of say, when fans not in stadium, everyone's probably thinking, oh, he's thinking of an excuse. If he was top of the league, it'd be, all these great signings, and now they're bottom. He's moaning it now on the bloody crowd noise, but I think it does make a difference, because if you're a footballer and you've literally been, if you're a professional footballer and you rely a lot on fans, I think I would. If I did things where I had an audience or a crowd or whatever it is, you do generally play better when you've got people backing you and physically there hearing and shouting and things like that. When you're losing a game, having the fans behind you to back you is so important. And when you go 1 or 2-0 down behind closed doors, and when there's no one there, the fight back will be made difficult because you haven't got the people shouting, chanting through those times, because fans will chant through the bad times. We were probably still chanting when we were 7-0 down against Wigan, 2 seasons ago. That's no excuse. Clearly we didn't make too much of an impact that day. I walked out on the pitch and everything that day, and they absolutely ruined me. 7-0 at home. That is embarrassing. But no, the way you look at it, crowd noise probably does make an impact. You probably have a bit of an impact, and you probably do change a little bit on the performance when you can hear the voices of the people behind you. When you've got the yellows shouting so much when you're 1 or 2 nil down, that does change games. It has done for so many times. We were 2 nil down against Newcastle in probably the 80th minute in the FA Cup, and we kept going. We got the free kick, we scored the free kick, and then we just absolutely pelted and chanted for constantly as loud as we can. That Castle Stadium was rocking at that point. I don't know if any of you were there. What a night that was. And then obviously Nathan Holland went and scored that great goal. I think it's one of the most viewed clips on YouTube actually from last year, which is mental. An Oxford United clip was done that well on YouTube against Newcastle. But it was a great game. Obviously we did lose 3-2 in the end extra time. St Maximin, it was a great goal. It was a great goal from Man St Maximin. But the crowd is such a huge important for Oxford United, and I do think that is a factor because we do rely on a good fan base. We've got, in my opinion, and I know I'm biased, but one of the best fan bases in my opinion in the Football League. So I think it does make a difference, and having that crowd got noise yesterday probably did really do well. But there's some fantastic fan bases, by the way, in League One and in all leagues, and all clubs in those leagues. We've got some fantastic fans. We're fortunate to have that sort of fans because you never want to walk into a stadium whether you're home or away, and have an absolutely dead crowd because it just makes the game rubbish. If you've got a bit of a crowd rivalry, if it was it were, I think that adds to the game. I really do think it does. So I'm thankful, grateful that we've got such great fans in England, and I'm sure they do in other countries. I haven't actually watched a game of football in another country. I don't think. I'm trying to think if I have done that. I don't think I have watched a game of football, like a professional game of football in a foreign country. Hopefully I might do one day. But no, in England is what I'm trying to say. We got some great fans, and I do think that's big for Oxford United. And I'm glad that they did have that crowd noise in there yesterday because I think it did make a difference. But we're 21st in the league, 11 points off playoffs is obviously where we want to be, and we've got 3 games in hand in there as well, from most teams. I think, is it 3 games in hand or 2? I think it's actually 2 games in hand. I've written 3 down. It's definitely not 3. I think it's 2. I don't think anyone's played 12, have they? I think 11's the maximum. Yeah, 2 games in hand, of course. So we can take 6 points out of those games and be sat on 12 points, and be sat in 14th in the league, and then we've got some home game against Doncaster as well. We're at Doncaster at the moment. Doncaster are 9th. We can get some decent results, and we can get back in the playoffs. We can get back in the playoffs, but like I've said, we've got to bounce off these performances because, it is unfortunate that we've had games postponed. But I've shaped my opinions on that and said what I think about that. Not that it's a bad thing. If I'm making, it wasn't a bad thing. It was in the EFL episode of the podcast when I was speaking about how the rules for the EFL and how they've dealt with this has been pretty abysmal. But it has been frustrating because building on games is so difficult, man. Building on games and building on results is hard as it is. When you get games postponed in the middle, it's just such a difficult one because players build on momentum. I spoke about it last season. The reason why we got where we were last season in the playoffs was due to momentum. We got a result, and then it just went from there. This season, that's a difficult thing for Oxford United, and it probably is unlucky because Oxford United. There's been teams, obviously, the majority of teams have played all 11 games that they should have done this season. We've played 9. It's probably just an unfortunate coincidence that both the games, or 2 of the games we've had in the first 11 game schedule, that they've been postponed, and the game obviously that was already rescheduled, the Crew game, was also postponed. So that is frustrating. But obviously, that's what we've got to do. We've got to move on, and we've got to bounce back. And Peterborough's a good chance to do that. I don't think Peterborough's a write-off for A, a result, and B, for a chance to bounce back. If we get a win against Peterborough, even though it's in the FA Cup, we're into the next round of the FA Cup, which is fantastic. We then obviously have an opportunity then to go and play some higher league teams when we get into the 3rd round or whatever it is. I mean, technically the 2nd round of the Championship, but Premier League teams in the 3rd round, we get that chance. We get a cup run going. That's big confidence. It is because we love a cup run at Oxford United. We've done it a lot of times. Manchester City have been up at the Kassam 2 times in the space of about 3 years. We've had West Ham up here. We've had Newcastle here twice or so in the last 4 or 5 years. We've had some big teams at the Kassam. We've been to some decent teams as well. We went to Southampton. We went to. I can't remember who we went to. We went to Newcastle. We went to St James Park. I didn't actually go to that game, but I know a few people that did. But no, we've been to some great games. We've had some great cup runs, so I don't see why we can't. And that will be confidence for Rochdale United, even if it is in the FA Cup. I think beating Peterborough for the players will be really, really good. And we've got to bounce back. There was a good performance against Rochdale last night. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't the best performance. It probably wasn't the most iconic Oxford United performance you've ever seen. But it was a good performance. We got the job done. We got the 3 goals. Frustrating we couldn't keep a clean sheet. I've heard people say it wasn't a penalty, by the way. It was a penalty. And I'm an Oxford United supporter. That is a penalty. You can't defend, Sam Long. I've given Sam Long so much credit. I think he was second in the chart show. I keep saying the chart show. Second in the ranking show yesterday. And I never thought that would happen. I never thought that would happen. And not in a disrespectful way. I just didn't think that Sam Long would get in the top. But again, he got one player of the month for Oxford United, the official player of the month. Not the ranking show on the podcast, player of the month. He got the official player of the month voted by the fans. I actually voted for him myself. I couldn't really get myself to vote for Gorin. Even though I've given him a lot of credit, I don't think we can vote for someone who's played about 2 league games this season. 3. I don't think we can do that. So, Long deserved player of the month, man. Long deserved player of the month because he was fantastic. He's been integral to this side when we've had so many injuries. So, big up Sam Long. Fantastic getting player of the month. Congratulations to him. But yeah. Let's beat Peterborough. Let's build on that. Let's build on this game against, and then build on for Doncaster. We've got a home next. The game could have gone either way at one point, but we got back into the game with that Shadipo goal. Great substitution from Carl Robinson. A revolutionary substitution from Carl Robinson. And Shadipo's done very well off the bench. I think Shadipo sent a few players to the shop in that game. He was fantastic. But anyway, let's crack on with some player ratings then. Eastwood. I've given a 7. I think he was good. I think that save, even the one we parried it, that was a good save. That could have gone in. I think he generally did very, very well. There wasn't a point. I don't think he could have done anything about the penalty. 7 for me for him. Claire with a 7. You do get some strange games with Sean Clare. It's like you never get anything in between. You either get a game where you think, oh, he's not a right back, and then you get games where it's like he's unbelievable. Where last night, it wasn't unbelievable. He got a 7, but when you think, it's a good performance, a really good performance from Clare yesterday. I thought it was defensively solid. I thought going forward he was good as well. So Clare's got himself a 7. More, I mean, this probably is the highest rating I've given a player, but I give him a 9, and he deserves it more. That's more like it. Excuse the pun. Excuse the name of the title of the podcast. That is a pun. But no, I thought Moore was fantastic last night. I mean, we said we wanted to get something from going forward, and he scored a goal with his head and a goal with his foot. What more can you ask for? Fantastic from Moore. I thought also, on a serious note as well, defensively he was really good as well. So, no, Moore's getting himself a 9. He won us the game pretty much single-handedly, with obviously some help with Shadipo and a great corner from Anthony Ford. We'll come on to that in a minute. Sam Long's got a 6. That's average, man. That's not a bad result. That's average. Sam Long got a 6. I mean, he had a decent performance, I thought. I thought he did okay. It wasn't the best Sam Long performance we've seen this season, but a great performance from centre-back. He did give away the penalty. That's probably why he's got a 6. 7, other than the penalty. You can't defend with your arms in the air. It looks like he was on a roller coaster trying to defend that. But other than that, no, I thought he had a really, really good game, Sam Long. Ruffles got himself a 6. I thought it was good, Ruffles, but not as good as he has been. I mean, going forward and things like that, he was so good last season, and defensively he was a bit strong last season, in my opinion. He's not back to his best, but he was better last night. 6 out of 10 for Josh Ruffles. He hasn't been the same since his injury, in my opinion. Goran's a 7 for me. I don't think he'll be top of the ranking show next week, but no, 7. 7's great. 50th appearance, 7 out of 10. What more can you ask for? Goran was fantastic, I thought. Goran was really, really good for Oxford United last night. Really good at breaking up the play. Some great tackles, some great passing. He's got a really good passing range. I didn't really know about that last season, to be honest. He was mental. I'm sure he was doing that last season, but I just wasn't paying attention to Goran. But no, his passing range is pretty mental. Like, he literally picks up the ball and actually can spread a ball pretty well over the pitch. So no, I actually think Goran's really good. He's really good at tackling, really tenacious, but he's also got a great pass to the ball. So really impressed with Sam Long. It was, but Goran, 7 out of 10 for you. Henry's got himself a 6. He didn't do unbelievable things. He did assist a goal, I'm pretty sure, for Shadipo. Good ball across the box to him. But other than that, didn't impact the great game too much, but 6, average, good from Henry, better than last week, I think. Ford's got himself a 7 out of 10, that's good performance, a great performance from Ford again, great in midfield, again, he can pass the ball, I tell you that for nothing, fantastic stuff from Anthony Ford. I love Anthony Ford, man. I love Anthony Ford, I absolutely love Anthony Ford. Do you know what, last season I was a bit unsure about Anthony Ford and what his sort of future and what he looked like at Oxford United, but it's a revolution this season, Anthony Ford. So impressive, him. Marcus McGuane's got himself a 6. Obviously, a new dad. Congratulations to Marcus McGuane. Of course, couldn't make the squad last week, but could make the squad straight into the lineup this week. But no, Marcus McGuane, fantastic performance from you. Well, not fantastic. I see the game sound fantastic. It wasn't unbelievable. It was a 6 out of 10, but an average performance from Marcus McGuane. I think he did more in the last game he played, out on that left-hand side. But no, I thought Marcus McGuane was decent last night. Do I think he's more of a midfielder? That's the question. I think he did really well against MK Dons on that left hand side, and then he sort of came back in midfield, didn't he, a little bit. And I don't know about Marcus McGuane because he does have that sort of like Shandon Baptiste attributes. And before people say, Jack, you've stolen that from Carl Robinson, because I steal lots of my things from Carl Robinson and other people. I'm a thief when it comes to that sort of thing. Not you know. But no, I actually said before Carl Robinson he's got aspects of Baptiste, and then Carl Robinson stole it off me and said that just repeated my line and copied me. I bet Carl Robinson secretly watches the podcast. I reckon that's it, but I don't really think he does. But no, Marcus Wilgain, 6 out of 10. I don't know if he's a midfielder or not, because he has, like I said, like I've said about 25 times already in the last 20 seconds, he does have that Baptiste sort of physicality, strength, and I'd say pace. He's not the fastest, nor was Baptiste, but you know what I mean. He was quite a rapid lad when he got going. So no, I think he's decent. I think he'll be okay out there. But I don't know. Is he okay? He was good out there, and he's good in midfield. But then again, he hasn't been very consistent in midfield when he has played. So I'm not sure. But I'm sure Carlson has got something up his sleeve. You know, we do tend to sort of take central players, for example, and just move them out on wide. He's probably gone back to Nottingham Forest going, I was just loan spelling in midfield. I didn't play in midfield, mate. I played in the front three. I was like, all right, that's different. You know, poor Nottingham Forest, nicking their players and changing their positions. It's what we do, Oxford United. It's what we do. Matty Taylor's got himself a 6 out of 10. Didn't do much, and to be honest with you, he chased down the ball well. He's really good at pressing. He's got a real work rate, Matty Taylor. Real work rate. So yeah, I think Taylor 6 out of 10, average performance from him, but could have been a 7 to be honest, because I think he was good, really good, chasing them down and causing problems. Dan Adgy's got himself a 7. A lot of people don't. I still don't think Carl Robinson loves playing Dan Adgy. I still don't think he does. I still think Carl Robinson goes, oh, we're going to play Adgy, aren't we? And then you know his assistants and coaches are like, yeah, we're going to have to play Dan Adgy. I don't think Carl Robinson. I don't think he doesn't rate him, because he wouldn't ever sign a player and play a player with him rate him. But I mean, I don't think he's like one of those players where Carl Robinson gives enough credit for. Like what Adgy actually did in the game yesterday, and what he has done when he plays out wide, is actually really good. Like really good. He's really strong. I said it in the ranking show as well. I seem to say everything on the ranking show. If you haven't watched the ranking show, you're missing out. I say everything. But no, he's powerful. He's quick, and he's so strong when he runs. Like he could have skinned him so many times. Adgy was fantastic, man. It's fantastic from him. 7 out of 10 for Dan Adgy. So yeah, positive performances. 7, 7, 9, 6, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 6, 7. Averages above average, and a fantastic performance from Elliot Moore. No 8s. Adgy could have been an 8. To be honest with you, Adgy could have been an 8, and Claire could have been an 8. To be honest, I thought Claire was really good. So, yeah, that's the player ratings. We did a player ratings today because we've got time. Apologies, this is out, or this will probably be out like 7 or 8 o'clock on a Monday, and I understand it's like over 24 hours since the game, so people might have lost interest. I do apologise for that. I am sorry. And also, if I'm right, and editor Jack, future Jack is listening. Hopefully, I don't put something like. Telling you at the start to subscribe. But, because if you're a true subscriber, you'd be watching 27 minutes into the podcast. But yeah, we're on a road to 100 subscribers. You know what we're doing now. 100 subscribers before the end of the year, before 2021, and we'll be bringing live content to the podcast. This will be live. Now, that will be incredible. This will be incredible. We will get 100. I'm sure we'll get 100. Can you imagine this live content? It will be top notch. Absolutely top notch. That's all you've got to do. All you've got to do is hit that subscribe button. All you've got to... It's simple. I'm not asking you to... I don't know, but I'm not asking you too much, am I? So hit that subscribe button, please. I'm joking. If you don't like the content, don't subscribe. But hopefully you do like the content. But yeah, great performance for Oxford United yesterday. Fantastic performance from them yesterday. I thought the performance was great. Not the best. A lot of times I come on here and go, yeah, the level was down here and now it's up here. I don't think the levels was unbelievably different. I just think we took our chances, and I just think we played a bit more confidence. That's all we've got to do. We've got to play with a bit more confidence, and we'll win games. Because yesterday we played with a bit of freedom. We played we played with a lot more freedom than we have done in so many games this season, and that's the difference. When you knock the ball about with confidence, freedom, and trust with each other, and you're not hiding away from the ball, you win football matches. It sounds simple. When you've got players that don't want the ball and are like, oh, don't pass me the ball in case I lose it, that's when you'll lose games. So. No, I think every player stood up. They stood up yesterday. They got their chests out. They said, we need to sort it out. We're going into a national lockdown. All of our fans are going to be sad. They can't go back into stadiums. Let's sort them out. Let's get behind. We've got fake crowd noise. Let's sort this out. Let the fake crowd noise get behind us, and let's get the 3 points. They did that. They did just that, Oxford United, yesterday. So really proud of the boys. And hopefully, like I said, we can build on in the FA Cup on Saturday. There won't be a match preview, I doubt, for the FA Cup, but there'll certainly be a match reaction for that. I say certainly. I say certainly too many times. I'm not certain. There should be a match reaction for Peterborough. It depends on the game goes. To be honest, great fan I am. I'm joking. I'm a good fan. I just, you know what I mean. The game could go either way. So yeah, hopefully we do get a good result against Peterborough in the FA Cup. We want a cut run. Of course, we want a cut run. And then obviously we've got the old Tim Pot. I mean the Papa John's trophy on Thursday. Papa John's, hopefully don't sue me for taking the mick out of the name of their. It's not even Papa John's fault, is it? Really? It's the cup's fault. The cup is called it used to be called the Tim Pot Trophy. It used to be literally sponsored by every single paint company in the UK, so that's why I call it that. But it's actually now the Papa John's Trophy. If we're going to use it in the right way. So anyway, that's what we've got. That's what we've got coming up the podcast. Hopefully you enjoy. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of the podcast, because I certainly wouldn't if I was you. And the camera cut out there, that's why it's a bit different. I certainly wouldn't want to miss an episode of the podcast, so make sure you're notified. And you subscribe as well. And I will see you later. Have a good rest of your day, people, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.